All right, process efficiency and enhanced user experience. These days we hear a lot these terms and others like digitalizations, big data, industry 4.0, IoT. Sometimes we just dismiss them as marketing stuff and everything, but sometimes they mean more. Sometimes they try to express the request of some companies. Some companies want to know what does it takes to a company to evolve and advance on a very changing environment and not only survive, but thrive. This is a story of a company on that quest, on how they are using Oracle technologies to evolve, and how we at Steltix partner with them on their digital journey, okay? So our story begins with Vanderlande, but who is Vanderlande? Vanderlande, as is nicely writing here, is the global market leader for future-proof logistics process automation at airports, okay? That's their main business line. They're also leading on process automation solutions for warehouse and parcels, okay? Nowadays, everybody is leader and champion and everything. But just to give some context, okay? Only on last year, I mean, from March to March, something like this, they move on their parcel business line more than 52 million parcels every day, okay? As of airports, they are moving over 4 billion with B pieces of baggage per year in more than 600 airports they are present. Among them, 12 of the most important in the world. What does this mean? This means that if you airflow through LAX, Los Angeles Airport, or Hong Kong, the systems behind, all the conveyors and all the stuff that is there, that's Vanderlande, okay? In terms of figure, we are speaking about a company founded on the 50s of the previous century, and that as of last fiscal year, 2022, for them, last fiscal year, they declare net revenue of 2.4 billion euros with more than 9,000 employees. So really a sizable company, right? So this seems a priori a very good situation and company to be. Everything seems nice, but apparently not that much, meaning that at some point, Vanderlande realized that they needed to evolve to maintain their leadership position and their business, okay? These very smart people at Vanderlande then decided to launch an initiative they call Optimized Supply of Goods, which consists of several programs and projects with the target of change the company to face those challenges. They were detecting difficulties on the growth, lack of performance in some areas, and they understood that the platform was not stable enough, okay? So based on that, they create this big program, Optimized Supply of Goods, among which there is Global Supply Network. Global Supply Network is a program in which they change the approach to their projects, to the distribution chain completely, okay? Very high level summarized. I mean, what they were doing is source everything locally. So for instance, we spoke before about LAX, Los Angeles Airport. When that was installed, everything was sourced locally and with local stock and with local manufacturing and everything. And whereas they are acting in another continent, it's the same thing, was the same thing. So as you can imagine, that was probably not the most efficient use of stocks and manufacturing and times, okay? So the idea for this global supply network, I mean, they designed this project program that requires a full review of the systems underneath, okay? As we mentioned, and any other full change, there were some business requirements, must be robust, flexible, and with a lot of visibility, meaning reporting. And that's where the impact will be. At this point, we have to say that the ERP for the company is JDE, and they wanted that this new scenario, technological scenario, was also built around JDE, okay? But needed to be scalable as needed, as we have seen is a very big and dynamic market, and they are facing the big challenge of growth, and they needed a lot of online reporting and information stuff, okay? Now, also within the global supply network changes, they requested for a tool to manage the transactions within what they call project warehouse. A project warehouse, it is where they prepare the goods to be installed in the final site. So it's like where you store and deliver the final goods. So that is a warehouse in our terminology, and they required the system that will be fully integrated with their current system, that is JD, that was robust, configurable, that has a super quick time to market. It can be set up and usable in a day, and very, very, very user-friendly, okay? Now, they also require at the beginning to have some offline functionality. We'll speak about that later on. And they had in mind which processes they wanted to cover on that warehouse with that solution, okay? That would be resize the purchase order, create labels for collies. Collies would be license plates in more standard supply chain language, transfer those license plates, inventory transactions, the lot, okay? So Vanderlande was in the quest of a tool that will comply with all this, that could interface or connect or speak with their legacy systems, ERP, JDE. And that's when enter Steltix and Upshare, okay? At that point, we at the Steltix, we were more than familiar with this kind of requests. We were advancing on our product division, okay? And one of our most successful and most demanded products is Upshare. We are going to speak about Upshare later on, but basically it's a tool that in this case more than interacts, but connects with JD and allows these transactions to happen. We will see how later. But now a little bit more on Steltix. Steltix, we are a IT services and product organization with offices all over the world. We have offices in Denver, in the Netherlands, in Spain, Portugal, Germany, Switzerland, France, South Africa, Australia, and New Zealand. So, and we provide different services like ERP digital advisory. We are also advisory for licensing. We train, project management, delivery, and PMO, and managed services, okay? We work intensively with Oracle technologies, JDE among them, okay? So there was a previous relationship with Vanderlande. We have had performed some consulting jobs, tasks for them, purely JDE setup, configuration, adaptation, things like that. But at this time, they contacted us because they heard about our products, okay? As I mentioned earlier on, we have several automation solutions for ERPs, in this case for JD Edwards. These are the ones for JD Edwards I mentioned because we are in a tools meeting. And just to share, AppShare, as we mentioned, is the tool we are speaking about today. It's a tool we reckon is for JD the one of the best solutions for digital business automation. Then for JD as well, we have accounts payable automation, where there's something that our customers require and we provide. And then the more technical ones, single sign-on, so that you can use your account in Windows for JD and for ERPs, massive data updates, etc. Okay. But now, a little bit more detail into AppShare. What is AppShare? AppShare, it's a front-end extension to the ERP connected. In this case, we're speaking about JD Edwards, but it could be any other ERP, right? And at this point, somebody with less experience would wonder, why do we need a front-end extension to JD Edwards? Because JD Edwards includes them. The thing is, as we say, not only is another extension, but it leverages JD Edwards services and simplifies the processes by simplifying the screens. Okay. On top of that, it's a very flexible tool based on this approach of progressive web app, which basically means that it can be adapted to any screen you use at all. You can use a mobile phone, a tablet, desktop, whatever. Okay. Now, this is when we presented this to Vanderlande and we explained them what the benefits of AppShare are. In this case for JD, as we are selling the AppShare flavor for JD, it follows JD's standard mobile strategy as provided by Oracle. We've developed, we connect to JD Edwards based on their application interface service. And that's what AppShare does. But not only that, it allows flexibility and adaptation. And most importantly, and what it said the difference in this process, it provided the right user interface for every user. If you remember, in this case, the requirement, apart from the very quick deployment and the robustness and everything, we needed something adapted to operators in the field, in the warehouse, that are with the forks and with the gloves and moving stuff. And we needed to nail that. That was the main one requirement, okay? And also, given that it is more of a discovery project or initiative, it was requested to be able to quickly react and change and adapt and whatever. So that's the benefits that we are providing with AppShare. Now, in Steltix, when we think, this is a little bit philosophical, but when we think about software, every time you crack your computer and you start the software, it's actually, we believe this is actually a conversation, a dialogue, okay? So the key factor of AppShare in this project is that it dramatically simplifies this conversation. For instance, okay, this would be order receive process in JD Edwards standard based on their screen. As you see, we're speaking about 6 screens to select the order to be received, to enter the details, then it goes through the approval process, or there are several steps there that if you follow the process as it is today, I mean, you can simplify a little bit, you can skip some steps, but this is what you would do. So it means in this dialogue terms that I ask for something to the software, it's going to respond back, then back, whatever. So that's a long conversation for a warehouse, at least, okay? Now, what Upshare does, why it is very good in process simplification, is to convert these 6 steps in one screen with a very minimum information, but the required information, and adapt it. There is a lot of people within our department of products working on these screens to make them as simple as possible and as user-friendly as possible, okay? And this is what Upshare is providing now to Vanderlande, among other customers. So back to Vanderlande, back to our story. They came to us with this list of requirements. We explained them, we have this product you may use. It has these characteristics that we mentioned. Let's give it a try, okay? So that's what came out. That's what is coming out, because this is a live project we are speaking about. So basically, together we define a standard process with standard transactions within the warehouse that can be tailored up to a moment, up to a level. Let's put it like this, okay? Based on this process, we built a model advanced warehouse template, so to say, that can be adapted to each and any project warehouse of the customer, meaning that we define a reception area, a storage area, I'm simplifying, storage area, delivery, handover area, based on the processes, okay? And for those processes, we built, or we better tailor in some cases, Upshare applications, simplified to be used with the scanners on the field, and to do these processes as simple as possible. If you are fluent with JD Edwards Advanced Warehouse module, you know that some of the transaction, the picking, the packing, they are on the screen, they are a little bit cumbersome in some cases. And we did exactly what we saw on the previous screen, right? So as of now, we have, as you see the scanners there, we have apps to receive, to do the put away, like to store, to pick and collect, and to hand over, okay? This is the main steps requested. And I say the main because if you remember the slide we saw earlier on the request, there were a couple more of those processes that finally, on the joint effort, we decide to dismiss or to postpone for the moment, okay? Now, we are going to see, unfortunately, because of several technical reasons, we will not connect to a Vanderlande environment. That is safer and something we cannot do. So we prepare some videos for you to see how does this work on the warehouse, on the apps. So let me put this on a little bit. Okay. This is bigger than actually in reality, because the reality is a scanner. And the user use this, as we mentioned, with gloves. And this is how they will do a collie reception. Truck will come, they will, here we are typing, but they will scan this from a barcode. This information is coming real time from JD Edwards, and it's being processed real time in JD Edwards. There is no interface, no file, no web service whatsoever, okay? The advantage, the ease of use, the speed, the connection, the data integrity, and the fact that JD does most of the control for us. meaning that if it works in JD, it's going to work here and the other way around. Okay. Similarly, that will be the picking. Once we receive and store a COLI, a license plate, they will deliver after some time. So they will go there, pick it, scan. A bit of hesitation there. There we go. You see those green message? That's it. This is absolutely online, absolutely production data, no fuss, no buzz. Okay, let me see. Here we are inquiring inventory because you can also do inventory counts, inventory inquiries, and everything. Everything you can do in your ERP in JD, that can be done in Action. So here you see for a location, you can check that item, everything. Functionalities are 100% the same we have in your ERP, your legacy system, but simpler and more readier to use. All right. Now this will be in Vanderlande's own words, the project and the situation and some more internal insights. So that was a very good summarized video of the features, functionality, and how they are using now. Now, from the more project management point of view, I mean, if this was a closed project, that will be the end of history, and they will live ever after, happy ever after, but it's not the case. I mean, as of now, the project has moved into a different phase. As the video mentioned, we set up the scenarios, we set up the first steps, and now from a more, the management mode has changed to a more agile. We work with features and we are evolving progressively. At the same time, we went live with several project warehouse and we keep on adding project warehouse per demand. So it's a continuously growing project. But so far, we can share some of the lessons learned, okay? From several standpoints. If this project is working, it's because we, the Vanderlande team, together with Steltix, we worked hard in defining the processes and allow no exception almost at all. There are some exceptions, some cases, but we work hard to define how the app and the process should be used in the warehouse, and that's it. Because there is a level of flexibility that can be allowed, but just so far. And at the beginning, we struggle a lot to be able to adapt to some of the different processes, because you have to take in consideration that one of these projects are being held in the UK, another is held in Hong Kong, the other is held in Australia. So it means that there are totally different ways of working or whatever. And then standardize that was a challenge, but it's a key success factor, okay? Now, regarding organization, and this is to me key, sometimes we spoke earlier about digitalization, Industry 4.0 and all these kind of things. But in this case, it was clear that it was more an evolution than a revolution. We didn't try to reinvent the wheel. We didn't try to change everything, but to adapt to what exists and evolve properly. And I have to say personally that JD is an excellent tool for that, because it allows you to set the level of, let's say, of the degree of technology that you can and want to use, because some users are more techy, more advanced, they get along better with the technology, they are younger, more flexible or whatever. But some others are used to the current screen, to their current process. JD is great for that. There is a flavor, there is an adaptation for almost everyone, and it helps a lot to introduce the functionalities and the processes. Like in any real international company, the worldwide deployment is a challenge, because we all speak business, many people speak English, but still there are different ways to work, different ways of understand things, time zones. So that's something that if you go into a journey like this, you have to think in advance. And something that was also a major success, as I mentioned, this project is both under development and live. Some projects are using it, some projects will start using next month, some projects did use it last year. So the level of requirements varies. We need to implement new functionalities as we give support to recurrent users. In order to do so, very important lesson is to integrate support, managed services at the right moment, which in this case is quite soon. Because normally the sooner the better, but in this case, it's almost mandatory. Okay. Regarding the systems, we mentioned at the beginning the original requirements from Vanderlande. And if you remember, for instance, they wanted offline functionality. they understood some trade-offs were needed. If the priority was the simplification and the connection with JD, in this case, they had to choose if they could live without that functionality or the other. Okay, so that was needed. The build of a dashboard for incomings and everything, that was something that we found out along the way, and that was a nice quick win. So something that we also learned that we can include in this kind of projects. And regarding the data, that was probably the biggest surprise. And I'm going to be brutally honest here. As we said, AppShare is an interface with, in this case, JDE, with the ERP, but not only, it simplifies process and everything. Since it's a presentation layer, we rely heavily on the ERP controls. JDE controlling the processes, issuing errors or warnings where needed and where appropriate. However, in this particular process, that interface data from different places out of JDE before AppShare and everything, EDIs and stuff, we found out, to our surprise, that we needed to integrate tighter controls on the data quality for the simplification process. And to be even more brutally honest, this was discovered on one of the go live. We were receiving goods and there were some issues, some errors that were blocking the process. And even if they shouldn't be there because the data should be clean, we know everything should, they were. So we decided that implement those controls earlier in the chain was more expensive and with a longer time frame. So what it was decided is to implement those controls already in AppShare. This is not usual. The good development and application and architecture practice will tell you that it's better to split presentation layer with business rules, with data and everything. But at this point, it has a lot of sense because what the user see was the presentation layer, and it was, as I said, time consuming, cost consuming to implement them in the other place. So that was probably the nastiest surprise of the project. However, and that's a good thing about AppShare is that the development time is very fast. So things that in other environments may take weeks, in this case, they were solved on 2 days, things like that. I'm not exaggerating. Finally, and probably most important as well, the people. I honestly believe that if this project is a succeed, and if it's a succeed, is because in Vanderlande's team, also in Steltix, but in this case, in the customer team, there is a right mix of people experience on IT, on the processes, and fresh enough and open enough to new ideas and new processes. That was key because otherwise, this is somewhat disruptive and the acceptation would not have been as it has been, okay? Or we also found out that even if we have done the applications and the processes as simple as possible, more preparation than planned for the people in the floor, for the operator, was needed. And basically, that's about it for Vanderlande. Just as a final coda, we can say that, as I said, this project, the site warehouse project continues growing in functionalities and life. But also in this journey, it turns out that we found new use for this functionality. Apart this project warehouse, in Vanderlande, they have other locations which centralize deliveries and everything. They call distribution centers. These are normally managed by other specific software because of their specific needs. But at some point, they are warehouse. And in some specific case, because of the time to market, because of the business needs or whatever, they requested us to see if it was possible to adapt AppShare and this process to those warehouses. And we did. So yet another side benefit for the customer was that as this is integrated with their ERP and fast to deploy, they can use it for unexpected processes. Now, this is process efficiency and enhanced user experience, but regarding warehouse automation, as we are speaking about the journey of Vanderlande. But AppShare, we also like to stress the point that it's way more than only warehouse. AppShare can be used for virtually any business application or process that you're using on your ERP. Finance or whatever, from supply chain, CRM, finance, assets, whatever. Even for some system administration tasks, okay? We have currently, as it's written there, more than 280 apps ready to use. If your program, in this case in GDC standard, you can go connect and use it, and it's going to work. And as I said, they are virtually unlimited application. For instance, yet another customer of us, MYR Group, they are using for field service. They have technicians reviewing the power lines on the US, and all the technicians, they now wear one PDA, one mobile device, and they are logging directly their maintenance sheets, job cost, and everything in the work orders on the fields directly on JD Edwards. Some figures here. We have 185 devices on this MYR group, which are logging more than 6,000 work order entries on a month. Okay, so that's about 200 per day, basically. Those devices are handled by more than 500 employees. So another success and another example of how you can automate processes and enhance user experience. So with this, it's Q&A time. If you want some clarification, something to ask, some question, now's the moment.
Yeah, I have a question. I just want to make sure. So AppShare is the low code, no code framework or platform that you're using, right?
AppShare is a platform to use the apps. Those are code, and it's not so far we are not opening the development for all the customers, but for some of them we install so that they can develop. But so far it's only the apps themselves.
The apps themselves.
Yeah, it's not a low code, no code platform. It's a platform in which you have apps directly connected to JDE. Those apps can be either standard, business standard from standard JDE, or tailored or customized to your non-standard JDE in this case. That little tailorization is either done by us or in your local deployment if you want, you can do it by yourself, but it's not an environment per se.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So and forgive I came on late. So are you creating apps to? Yeah, I'm just trying to understand the AppShare. So I'm not a technical person by nature, so it just takes me a little longer to understand this. So would this be, so is AppShare the same as VBCS or no?
To be honest, I don't know what
cloud.
I don't know what BBC is. So, but let me see if with this I can clarify a little bit. Okay. What Oracle is telling you is that you develop in whatever you want. Mendix, Angular, whatever, or even if you do it in React or whatever, anything that can connect it via via API, sorry. And then through the AES server, this will be connecting to your services in JDE, okay? AppShare is a platform that contains pre-built applications that can connect directly with your AES server, okay? There is not a development platform. It's a platform for you to use the apps.
Okay, so is Steltix creating apps?
Yeah, we started creating apps. We have the 280 apps. And in some specific case, if you want to have a local platform and you have a powerful development team and you want to be independent or whatever, we can provide you with the tools to grow that way. But in principle, it's Steltix maintaining, because a very important part of AppShare, as we said, is the user interface and the simplicity. And for that, we, as much as possible, we try to control the way those are developed.
Okay, so and forgive me, just be patient. So are you using, so what is Steltix using to develop the apps? Is it what's it called, J Developer?
I'm less savvy on that than you are. I don't have a clue what is the technical environment beyond API. I don't know what the developers work on, and I rather not know, because otherwise they will put me to develop, and I don't want to.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
Anyway, drop me an email or something, and I will dig that for you and let you know. I mean, here you have the contacts. Let me display this. You have my email. You and anyone, of course, you can reach out, send the questions, comments, or whatever you need, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. And it's written there. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Thanks for your question. All right. Any other question, comment, something you want to share? Okay, so in this case, I thank you very much for your patience and your time today. I hope it is somewhat useful for you. And as mentioned, feel free to reach in case there are doubts, something, or you want to demo, or you want to see more, or you have questions on the management side of things, whatever, we are there for you. Thank you very much, and have a nice rest of the day.
Thank you.
Goodbye.